Welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. We have been talking today about using our lovely mind wisely. So you smoothly navigate detours when you use your mind wisely because of having that which is an integrated brain, a whole self, restorative embodiment. That's whether you're a mystic, spiritual, or mindfully loving living person. And here's our love frequency people. They know how to navigate their lovely ventral vagal state, and so you know how to stay connected and socially engaged. You are calm, curious, grounded, and safe most of the times, and you do not want to be modulated or dysregulated. And therefore, you create resiliency on purpose thanks to mindfulness practices, mindset skills, and those are all a bunch of different words that I get to learn from different types of attachment trauma educators and mindfulness practitioners and more. So you can ask questions. Meantime, those who are curious, open, accepting, and loving are the 5D Collective. Those who come in and correct are not. Those who come in and correct are the aggressive and or sneaky. From yesterday's podcast, we had an episode where I talked to you about Patrick Tian. He had a share, and he's a great therapist for childhood trauma survivors, and he spelled out what those who do need him do. So when I meet limited consciousness, I don't do anything because I'm not their therapist, I'm not their mother, I ain't their papa, I ain't anything except for a human being who actively wants to do what God taught me with Jesus. It is to forgive, to turn the other cheek, to be blessed because I do know they don't know, and that is thanks to Stephen Porges, as he points out. We tend to think of triggers as words or scripts or context, but he says I'd like therapists to think of them as triggers of physiological state. So people who don't understand that every person is their 0-1 and 3 to 7 unless they're grown up, And so again, smoothly navigating detours for the 5D Collective is where we're at. And that's who comes here, because inspiring human potential is not for teenagers. Teenagers are more like Nietzsche. Every superior human being will instinctively aspire after a secret citadel where he is set free from the crowd, the many, the majority, man alone with himself. So you need to feel like you're, that's the sympathetic and or the dorsal vagal. And again, losing strategies for the adaptive child is only losing when they actively have sensitive people around them. But they will try to prove they're right, you're wrong. They're going to continue to try to wield you, again, aggressively or sneakily, wherever they want. It's their 3-year-old. The difference is they have shame and they feel defective. And it's, again, a response that is biologically rude. It's only if you have a self-aware, accountable, regulating human being who wants to lead with their higher self that you'll hear what's actually going on, which will be a trigger, as again Stephen Porges points out, but they will be aware, accountable, and regulating, and so they will not use a story, they will not use an excuse, they will actually come and talk. I was feeling really upset, so I had this thing called a reaction. And so again, functional child adults, we get to be the teachable ones, and that's because we love to connect with those of us who are experience life as it comes, not with dragging around a pain point, but with clarity and organization. We're going to try and get that color to go back to normal. Okay, and radical acceptance is where I will accept Maria with her defects. No, she won't always say everything is in the right way. That's not my plan. That's not anybody's plan, by the way. And so when change is coming around, we don't feel changed, because a whole self, that's what you are when you are in an integrated brain. And so the two sides of the brain work together. We're playful, we get to be fearless and bold. We know that it's not luck, like Gary Vee points out. And yesterday when I said I don't do what he does, the trending topics, what I meant is he uses technical verbiage as an online marketer and entrepreneur. I know the words he uses, I choose not to use them with my clients. That's both for online marketing and self-help, personal development, because I like to lay a foundation of let's just chit-chat however way is best. And that's why, again, empowered feminine doesn't mind getting corrected and doesn't mind when someone's like, you got lucky, your life's easy. And you say, sure, whatever. I mean, really, why are you in my space? But no, not really. As a teenager, I learned why teenagers would do that. So again, I know how to believe in Maria, and you will know how to believe in yourself if you have gotten the opportunity to either stay yourself, the higher self, and sing your own song. So while I saw teenagers be assholes to each other, and actually choose to do, we're different. Now I know it's flat earthers, I know the abundant universe and God provides for all, and also that we have love and fear. The frequencies continue to coexist as a mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. Again, I know that, yes, Spirit always creates and has our back. God, discerning, wise, good judgment, equanimous, common-centered love. Not going to destroy us. No, hopefully the asteroid doesn't destroy us. Those who create a story of humanity, why do they want to go to space? Oh no, technology, science, they're still needing to heal their self, but they don't want to. So they are not gentle with the touch of their thoughts, and they don't even think they have emotions. In fact, they will deny the truth, which is any of their cherishable beliefs like mine are potentially falsifiable. And they will say your brain can fall out of your ass, and you'll say no, it can't, but that's because my brain's discerning, equanimous, and loving like God is to me, because I have a higher self. Yes, that's called, you can't manipulate a person who doesn't have clutter, because there's no way in hell that you can talk down to me like that. I got taught. Walk like an Egyptian. You can't spank me. It's my 3-year-old. So we collaborate because my faith in humanity didn't get broken. So again, trusting in detours is because there's no detour that is a punishing question, except for assholes who ask their kids that. Yeah, so those kids will have issues when they grow up, but hopefully they'll get good therapy and be able to notice, oh, my dad asked me punishing questions, and that woman thought it was really cool to ask men punishing questions because they don't trust relationships, and that's the relationship soul age for you, who I just think they're all needing Patrick Tan so they can stop doubting human beings and acting in aggressive or sneaky ways and actually justifying what is their unkind lack of safe behavior, because that's what low self-esteem and direct communicators, passive-aggressive, codependent, blamers, martyrs, superiors do with each other, and they think they're wise because they're actively thinking that everybody's out to get them, including their partners, which is why it's a losing strategy to be an adaptive child for Terra Real. And for anybody who doesn't have empowered people, when you have empowered, you don't lose shit, because I'll be like, what the fuck is this? No, I won't, actually. So there's no obstacle that a wise mind can't overcome. And what that means is, again, we smoothly navigate detours, because when you're using your mind like this, let me explain. And that's by giving you some stories. You see the hollow bone? Teachability. Awesome. Okay, so walk like an Egyptian. Na, 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 na. I don't need to know where I'm headed. I already have my relationship with God. I have faith. He chose it for me. Oh, that means one day I'll die. I love being human. I love being here. And all those shitty, crappy movies, I don't watch them anymore. And when I do, I still don't like them, because I get to go out in the street and notice how many of my brothers and sisters don't want to go heal their trauma. And they think they're smarter than me, and that they actively can spot shit like a hawk. Oh, I know they can spot shit. I just know that they are actively looking out for themselves in a way that is unnecessary. Because, seriously, teenagers, get out of your, again. So that's one. I don't find it interesting to notice trauma perpetuated in any person's body, but that's also why God tells me to stop judging human suffering. A waste of my fucking time, not good or bad. I learned how not to cast stones. So humility and integrity come with, I accept that you could think of me as crooked, an asshole, cocky, whatever, and I don't actively give a shit, because that's not who I am. That's with all the humility and integrity, confidence. It's called a ventral vagal state, like this, with an open heart, an open mind, and an open gut. No person with secure attachment that is non-traumatized, that means I can self-regulate alone, will give two shits about what your nervous system is doing. I can self-regulate in my ventral vagal state without you. The people who think it's dangerous to have no emotions, or that we have no opinions because we're neutral, don't know what equanimity. I laugh because they also don't know that they're in distress. I'm not. And in the minute that I'm in eustress and you're not, and I'm in the high frequency and you're not, well, again, I mean, I don't want to tell it to you, because God told me not to be a tattletale. No, he taught me how not to play the know-it-all, but I am a know-it-all right now. And when people say that they don't believe in neuroscience, again, I don't chime in. But right now I'm presenting, you know what I know? Eustress. It's awesome. Dr. Dan, you gave me a really great way to notice how to work with my own panic attacks, because they still know. Luckily for me, I'm pretty good with that. But still, he gave me a good explanation that works for when I start to get agitated, because, again, we all have an embodied brain. I don't get ungrounded, though. And it is this way. He says, eustress is, one, the way that you will be working when you have this capacity to be in a flow state, but it's energy and motion. So anytime I'm getting up, anytime I'm doing anything, I actually care about life. So energy and motion is that emotion, but also, of course, I'm going to be having my nervous system participate. But there's a difference, because my eustress, and this is the part of where if people don't want to believe in Dr. Daniel Siegel or Bessel van der, I know a bunch of them. I don't believe. I know what data is. I know that they've done their research. I know who I'm learning from, because they're not telling me a story. They give me explanations. When somebody gives me lack of imagination for evil and then continues to use the words that define a group, I know you're playing a crowd. You ain't educating. You got a group. Peter Pan, who's your Lost Boys? Are they doing great? Who's your Wendy's? Is it Freud? Is it yesterday's news? Are you yet using anything from today? Or are you ready for humanity to be eaten by Mother Earth because you've decided that we suck? And so where's your faith in humanity? I guess you don't know God, do you? This is how a smart person will have anybody understand. The only idiots who played a crowd are the same ones who aren't playing a crowd. They got a group. Hey, flat earthers, you having a good time looking into the flat earth that is out there? Oh, I'm so sorry. Sam Harris. Yes, my charitable beliefs might be falsifiable. For all I know, the earth is flat. There you go. So that's the way that I could play this. I don't always do this at all, because seriously, it's not fun. I love learning things. So when I spot a liar pants on fire, I'm just used to noticing them, because their story is tainted with the words of their group. And so their 14-month-old is playing to their crowd, but their crowd likes the information. They're giving it to them the way they want it, the way they completely are not mesmerized. No, they're hearing what their ears already have been thinking, and they want more of it. And if you want more of who is playing to you, no, they're not playing. Schopenhauer, appeal to the masses. If you want to, and it's not even about a large audience. It's about those who perpetuate trauma are half-brained people. They are cowards. They don't go to Patrick Chan. I have nothing else to say. They don't know how to use their mind. I'm the buffoon, and to me, they're not a buffoon, because I have respect since God taught me, and since I am also a person of science, because I'm pseudoscience lady, but the scientists have explained to me exactly what happens within the first 3 years of your life. Robert Sapolsky determined, if he's correct, it's okay. I know who's going to come navigate to IHP, and I never want to work with any cowards, because I don't like cowards at all, and it's not Lucifer. And I don't like to do, what's it called? I don't pat anyone on the back, and I don't give you a green pass. I actually know what it means to have flaws, be crooked, meaning I'm imperfect, not be able to prove intent because I was a teenager like everybody else. And I didn't say, let me not ask about homework on a Friday evening because teenagers are going to boo me. No, they booed me. I still remember that, and my body didn't even flinch. And also the other thing, had they touched me, I would have gone to the principal. Apparently I was being protected by my twin. I didn't ask her, but that's nice to know. Had they touched me, I would have went to the principal. And no, I wouldn't have been afraid to speak up again, because that's the whole point. I learned from the grown-ups what teenagers would do, and I saw them do it. And so in that case, the grown-ups were right. They are all cowards. They are all pretenders. They are all just doing bullshit, and none of them know what commitment means. And so when you grow up and you already had seen lack of self-aware, accountable, regulating people who don't know how to navigate their higher self, I mean, really, I just didn't notice until I got attachment trauma informed how many human beings don't take care of their own mental health and well-being so that they could go get healed. Instead, they like to play journeys. So when I see trending topics, not technical trending words by awesome, authentic people, again, I know Gary Vee knows his shit because I have seen him, and I just, you'll be able to identify the ones who are real and the ones who are. And you'll also notice when you're in the presence of limiting consciousness, only if you own your body and mind and heart and self, and that's without assuming to know anybody, because we don't study you. We're in our prefrontal, curious, open, accepting, and loving, because I'm connected, open, aware, and loving of myself. First of all, that's why I don't need Patrick Tahan or Terry Real. I know who Maria is. What do you want? I'll look at you, and then I won't back down. Luckily, as you grow older, you don't get teenagers. You get their grown-up version that doesn't actually know how to handle the one and or the ones who are empowered like this, because we won't stand down. We also won't flinch, meaning we won't get aggressive or sneaky, because we actively have no self-doubt. So I know what I'm talking about. I'll also know what I don't know. And then I'll also know if I'm getting into, I don't know, maybe. So you don't have anyone who makes you reactive. There's 2 times that I was reactive. in a specific way. And this is as I'm grown up again, right? As you achieve maturity. And in both occasions, I was not proud of that moment, but I also knew this is something that I was processing and working through, because the themes of ascension energies actually are around, usually mystic here. So for spiritual growth, you'll know what you're moving through if you're an empowered feminine. I knew what themes were at hand, and so I knew as I was expanding, like with twin flame and flames and soulmates, obviously people who were not in the same boat and who don't navigate their mind wisely, they don't smoothly navigate through detours at all, and they're not really detours. So the other thing about those of us who are in the enlightenment, so age group, is how I'm going to put it, with mysticism and spirituality, you got clairs. Clairs are the same as spiritual gifts, all of it, you just bring it in. Science hasn't disproven any of it, they just explain things so that people can all, if they want, understand. And it's not jump on board a trending topic, no, because again, actively the ones who think of it as something, it's like Nietzsche with the man alone with himself. So when you are grounded in reality and you embody pure consciousness, because you're embodying the pure essence of you, you own the sense of self, you own you own your brain. It's not a special gift, it's not supernatural, but it is something that you achieve because of a number of situations. In my case, I'm lucky, got my higher self here. I got to be myself, and others will have other stories to tell you. And so we'll close on out being yourself. Okay, so when you get to choose to be true to who you are, because you've chosen to love yourself first, to be yourself, however it is you got to this integrated brain, if you're there yet, you know it, and you'll be able to love yourself. You listen to your inner child as a functional child adult, though, and therefore you let go of past charges by accepting what is and dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds, unexpecteds with love, open heart. Love is your guide. Okay, you're setting healthy boundaries. That means not you time dumping. No, it means okay, left, right, what's going on. So you get to be yourself by knowing your mind, your heart, your body, that you are wanted just the way you are. You speak with gentleness to yourself, neutrality, kindness, compassion, integrity, awareness that the body stores emotional and trauma charges, and that you're going to metabolize them through the mind, and that you want to watch out for the stories of the mind and the knowledge that comes up, because the stories could involve, as well as the knowledge, distortions of self, but also biases, your past, stuff like that. Okay, so you want to know what is from the past of childhood, and this is why core, narrative, relational, soul, self, you have to own those first. Once you have earned secure attachment, you securely attached, non-traumatized, I got a person now I got a higher self. Welcome aboard 5D Collective. Mystic, spiritual, mindfully living, loving people. Until that moment, you're not gonna want to be here unless you do. The people who are dedicated to being in their superhero, supervillain, that's why they call us names, that's why they don't believe in it, okay? And that's why they also don't do anything about it. They are all cowards in my book, which is why God keeps telling me to stop judging human suffering. And Robert's supposed to be determined, no free will. So science explains to me the torture chamber shit that goes on. I think now that there's an explanation, and you've been around for more than 20 years, and there's a bountiful number of you, why is not every human being, that's right. Because there's the other scientists who chase you down the hallways, and there's other scientists, small ones, who say, I have a million ways to contest you, as I present somatic information to one person who has a couple and they're therapists and they want to help people. And as they say this, it's exaggerated. I'm like, wow, because see, using the word contest means you've just taken what I've told you as if it's a competition. Curiosity presents itself with, wow. So here's what I've learned, wow, we can bring it together. See, this is what alliance does, which is why any intelligent brain is not gonna be like, oh my God, they've so offended me by da-da-da-da-da. No, it will be like, wow, my gosh, that was, so I'm like, this is interesting. I'm curious now. So look, since you're leaving and there's all these ways you have to contest me, can you tell me how you would help a traumatized human being, where I told you just right now, I had told him all about you can't lay him down, stuff like that, the child parts. Okay, so take all the parts before I finish the story of you and use time to process, welcome, and make sense of yourself. And all of that which you no longer need, that doesn't serve your inner or outer well-being. So you process sadness, anger, you process disgust, surprise, fear, happiness. That's the processing, means that you think and feel it through. It doesn't have to always have thought, but you want to activate the ventral vagal state, be in your prefrontal cortex, no narrative. That's why Stephen Porges says it's not the narrative or context, it's a physiological state. And that's why Pat Ogden says with sensory motor, you work through the motions. That might be more than 5 ways, by the way, to 5 movements. I forget. I've been using the word 5, but it could be more than 5 defense ways that we do, that our body wants to move. So long story short, back to the story. And that was the end of the other bit of channeled guidance food for thought I had for you from about a year ago. So this person, I say, okay, so tell me how you're going to heal a person with all this trauma. And they first start with, I'm wearing a bow tie. They describe to me what they're wearing. I have a notebook. I'm sitting in my chair, and then they say, and I have my couch, whatever. They lay them down, and they come in 3 times a week, and that's it. And I write notes. And somebody who is more aware of regurgitation of material is what I call it, when I don't remember all these human beings. They must be a Freudian or something. I was like, okay, that still doesn't make it good. They just denied every single bit of information. Laying a person down like that is going to continue to retract. They don't want to lay down. I've seen people who don't want to lay down. I didn't know that information. And when I found out, I was like, oh shit, this is horrible. I had a person lay down and they hadn't told me they didn't want to, and then once I got that piece of information, though, luckily for me, I'm able to adapt. So as a Reiki practitioner, one, I'm a distance healer, Akashic record reader, all that. I don't have to have anybody here. I can have them sit at home. I can have them in a chair. They can walk around. They can do whatever they want. And I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I apologized to the individual that I knew was uncomfortable by sharing. I said, look, here's some information, since we were working on some personal development in little ways, even as friends. I said, I want you to know that there's other ways if you want in the future. And thank you for being able to sustain being, in that way. And they're like, oh, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal. I was like, no, I know, but I wanted you to understand that piece of information, because people don't understand why they don't want to sit still, why they don't want to think, not understanding that there's an explanation and then not taking it seriously. Here's why. You can do all the yoga, mindfulness, and meditation you want. If you didn't take note to take your own self seriously, to get a whole self, that's why we have spiritual bypassers and people with mantles, meaning the egos in town that think that they are more and better, or that you cannot navigate the love frequency. It's because they can't navigate it yet, because they haven't learned to navigate their nervous system. You won't learn to navigate it unless you have secure attachment, you're non-traumatized, you can self-regulate in your ventral vagal state also by yourself. I've done it thanks to those lovely, not so lovely panic attacks, but I'm saying you expand your window of tolerance to a window of welcome. And so that's the part that people are either going to do, and they will then move into our lovely 5D collective and that frequency that I get to chit chat about. And in the meantime, I'm already doing that. I was doing that before. I didn't know of all these words until I did. And when I did, I simply said, well, God had already given me the gift of life, the miracle of life. I have 2 hands, 2 feet. So of course I'm not like getting any detours that are like, oh my God, I'm still living. I'm not dead. And this is where you'll know when you have spiritual bypassers and people who are not yet their whole self, when they say dying is easy, living is hard. No. Living is easy. Dying, I don't want to, because why would I want to die? Maria won't be here with her loved ones anymore. That doesn't make sense to me. I like to be here. I want to live as old as possible because I love the people that I have. And no, it's not because I'm attached. It's because I actively know that at that point it'll be, this is where, to me, anybody who doesn't understand how they're presenting this equation has a challenge with their very own nervous system and emotional state, and being their self, and then cherishing mindfully that which is every 24 hours. And these are people who, again, the spiritual bypassers, at least that's what I'm going to use in this moment in time, because they actively continue to perpetuate what Bethany and Ruth Lanius have taught me about those who have dissociative disorders and do pseudo-aliveness, which is something you can reverse, meaning change it up, by being able to do I forget what words they use, even Bezel van der Kolk was talking about it. And so this is something for another day, another topic. But the point is, when I hear any of them telling me that it's better for them when they're in out-of-body experiences, and when they're actually having moments in the stars, and they're near a tree, and they're this and that. And so again, dying is easy, living is hard. Not for those of us who know how to live life with our minds, because we are wise, because we have higher self, because we're integrated. So again, those who are here still, we're not lucky. Some of us can say, sure, I'll say I got lucky. That way people can feel better about it. Maybe it is my genes. I don't know. But the point is, when I see people being, you can't be this way always on. Why would you not be on? How do you know about the ventral vagal state and you don't use it? A gazillion ways to contest somatic therapist. Why? Who's competing with you? Teenagers don't have sense of self-worth is what I saw, and that's not teenagers anymore, though. They're grown-ups. So insecure human beings, I don't learn from you anything, because you don't know how to walk a walk, talk a talk, limited consciousness, and you're in a body. You're not authentic. You're a copycat. You'll notice when there's copycats, you'll notice when there's authenticity, and you'll always get and learn from authenticity, and they will expand a room. And that's who we get to build a community with, because the 43D can keep hanging out with their not only low frequency, but their stories. And when they do take our ancestors, the prophecy, so I was reading about the definition of prophet, it's the same as guru. And divine revelations, they keep using yesterday's books to tell you tomorrow in ways that are fear-mongering. So the ones who are in a low frequency, miracles, yes, of course, yes, we can know of still miracles, but there's also science, technology, okay? Diffuse conflict and provide clarity, the word of wisdom. So anybody who's talking against science, technology, and they're saying they're going to take over are the same ones who are afraid of it. And that's why anyone who's afraid of the present with the future is destabilized, because they are seeing something different than what used to be. And I was just watching a smart human being man talk about going into space and, you know, being able to see what else is out there. And some human being was like, why would we go? We've already done shit here. We're going to ruin space. So anytime there's people who have faith that is broken in humanity, I remind myself that they need Patrick Tiahan. They don't know how to use their mind wisely. We are made by God. That's an inconsistency from the whole God thing. Them using the word Lucifer and demons just tells me that they don't like the group that is whatever, and there's our flat earthers too. So I mean, really, a smart human being brain with God or science will know exactly, woo, that's grounded in reality, and that one has stories. Stories, fabulous, let's have a good time with them, but your mind isn't wise. And you don't smoothly navigate detours because you don't know how to navigate your own nervous system. That's why you don't navigate your mind. And you creating any kind of pathological story is simply the repeat of a regurgitation of, again, a yesterday's news, which is really aggressive or sneaky, and it doesn't really matter which low frequency it is, because, and which shame spectrum it is, because, again, you're not going to expand or take away from a person who doesn't have the need for you to give them this or this when they're chit-chatting. And so, yeah, we do life mindfully living, loving people our own way, because that's authentic self people, whether they are mystic, spiritual, or simply, again, the atheist group and scientist group. Those who are real know that dying is something that happens, and no, it's not easy. It's only easy for those who find living hard because they have a life that they feel as suffering, and therefore their butterfly transformation sounds horrible and like crap inside of them, not mine. And I will say, wow, you'd only think they would go with Pat Ogden so they could work out of that, since there's all the answers now to how to get into a body that gets into the ventral vagal state. But there are those who say, why do you want to heal all trauma? We don't want to heal all trauma. We want to keep doing our trauma. Okay, your body's headed towards restorative embodiment because your body is the feminine and she's smarter because she's empowered. The fact that your masculine is trying to create a story for why you want to stay in a suffering body tells me that you don't know unhealthy self-soothing is actively what you think is a highlight, while no, boring is not secure attachment. Boring. So secure attachment practitioners talk about boring. No, they're not secure attachment, excuse me. They are the ones who help anxious, the other ones. So these are the styles. I've seen them more than once say secure attachment is boring. And then I'm like, okay, what is this? And it's explained. It's because they're used to the addiction with their visceral. And so basically they have to have fist fights with each other. No, inside. So being addicted to poisonous, low frequency, venomous stuff, why would I support that? again, not only are you not actively saving yourself, now I need to hear you as you're re-traumatized. So this is where my brain goes to, I'm not going to support your story. Sure, don't go heal your trauma, but don't talk to me about it as if I am supposed to be okay with it. Your body's actively smarter than you are. It's an optimized system. It's not because you were not programmed. They're programmed. So anytime somebody is objectifying their embodied brain, I'm thinking your flesh. There's anatomists, basically neuroscientists, neurobiologists. They explain it to you. They don't use a story. They don't need to, and they don't want to because they give you the data. You want a story. Now, there's one way to make something explainable, like Dr. Daniel Siegel with the hand model, and he gets chased down the hallways. It's another to make up some visual of a story to create a superhero or supervillain story because you're objectifying, and that's the difference for me of those who don't use their mind wisely. You don't integrate yourself if you're giving the narrative the lead. You integrate your brain and yourself when you are saying, oh, here's my child parts. Okay, not, oh, I'm going to hug you. No, here's my child part. You stay with the prefrontal. You actually activate your ventral vagal state. You actively will, as Patrick Tan points out, be tired after therapy because you have a very big, important session. You're releasing things and then working on it. And that's why some people say resiliency. What does it even mean? That's a person who, they find it hard to keep working with their nervous system. It's only though because, like the Zen master, they have the story of laundry. So if you take all of vulnerability, sad, mad, disgust, surprise, happy, afraid, which it is, those emotions helped our human species in flesh to survive in our prehistory, and they still do. Your nervous system. People who don't like the explanation, it's not technical with a machine, it's actually like anatomy. So if you don't want to learn, you got 10 fingers, okay, this is the part of what people don't like. You're making it sound so normal. It's boring. No, it's not boring if you actually want to become your true self. It's boring for the ones who want to be a man alone with himself, supernatural human being. I've spotted them since I was 11. It's not fun because it's like you're all acting with masks. You have facades. I don't like fake people because it's an active nervous system. Yeah. So long story short, though, I have a higher self. The ones who didn't get this luck, they have these little copycats come up out of the woodwork. They can go to Patrick Chan, get out of it. If they don't want to, that's okay. We have plenty of room for our lovely brothers and sisters of fear because there's the laws. And in the meantime, the intelligent ones, we get together and we get to have a good time trying to do whatever we can to support the future for real. And if they want to stay in their low frequency, again, there's not anybody who's going to stop them. We have people who don't take their children to hospitals. We have museums that teach people about no Darwinism, but only Adam and Eve. We have men and women who choose to treat each other like pieces of shit. And we have men and women who continue to think that polyamory means that we don't know what love is versus actually, one, ask more questions, learn about our different dynamics. Again, there's the book Polywise, talks to you about vessels, but just the idea alone of you thinking that people who love more than one person don't love, I do know that it's a new word, but it's been around for a while. And because we are in a time where healthy self-worth people are around, we get to hear at IHP, we might have an episode about that in a little bit, talk about it, as I want to give you some more stories on that. I have a good one that recently came up. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful day.